Hello, and nice to be with you again. Today, I'm going to talk about a much bandied around solution for the Palestine-Israeli problem, the two-state solutions. The two-state solution as a notion is not new. It has been the policy of the colonizing power, i.e. Britain, from the very beginning. They started with the Peel Commission in 1937, when Lord Peel decided that Palestine should be divided between the Jewish community and the Palestinian Arab community, both Christians and Muslims. And the piece of land they allocated in that commission to the Palestinians was what is known now as the West Bank, some of it to be in confederation with what was known then the Transjordan, which means the current country of Jordan across the Jordan River. The Palestinians at that time rejected it. For why would the people who own 95% of the land accede to such a commission report that gives about 40% of their land to the incomers? The same thing happened in 1947 when Britain, the occupying power at the time, as per their mandate, dumped Palestine in the lap of the United Nations. The United Nations decided to partition Palestine, and the partitioning plan was 56% of Palestine will be given to the Jewish state, 43% of Palestine will be given to the Palestinian state, and the remainder 1%, i.e. the Jerusalem area and the surrounding corridor, was to be known as corpus separatum, which means a separate body. The Palestinians, naturally and rightly so, rejected it. As I said before, why would you, when you own 94% by then of the land, and the Jews owned only 6% of the land, you agree to give them a further 50% of your land? The situation has deteriorated as far as us, the Palestinians, are concerned, from 40% in 1937 to 50% in 1947. We know what happened then. There was a war, Israel was triumphant, and as a result, they have occupied 78% of the landmass of Palestine. And when countries like the United States of America, the Soviet Union then, Britain, France, and other Western powers recognized the declared Palestinian land, Israeli country on Palestinian land, they actually sanctioned and approved theft by conquest. I.e., if you are strong enough and you invade somebody's land and you can take it by force of arm, the United Nations and the most members of the United Nations were willing to sanction it, i.e. making land theft by force legal. And that is the reality. And that continued until 1967. In 1967, there was another war started by Israel, which they won. It is called the Six-Day War. They defeated the armies of Jordan, Syria, and Egypt, and as a result, they are now in control of 100% of the landmass of Palestine. And it has been so since the Six-Day War. After the war, the Security Council passed two resolutions, Resolution 242 and 338, both of which advocate for the concept of land for peace. What does that mean? It means that Israel should withdraw to the pre-1967 borders, i.e. to the 78% of the land they occupied in 1948, and give that land back to the Arabs. The Palestinians were not mentioned. Then, those two resolutions were adopted by the General Assembly when there was another resolution saying that this land will be the new Palestine, i.e. when Israel withdraws to the pre-1967 borders, these lands, the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem, will be for the Palestinian state, two states living side by side in peace and harmony. Israel agreed to the resolutions, but never in their heads and hearts agreed to withdraw from 1 inch of occupied Palestine. And the situation is still the same today. Fast forward from 1974 to 1988, when there was an Arab Summit Conference in Algiers, and the Summit Conference decided, without even by your leave from the Palestinians, to appoint the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, as our only and sole representative. The PLO became our chosen leader. We were not consulted, we did not elect them into office, nor we had any say in the matter. It was a fait accompli. And the PLO, headed by Yasser Arafat and the current leader of the Palestinian Authority, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas, started negotiations with the Israelis with an intention to find a final solution to what they call the conflict. It's not a conflict, because conflict says there are two equal parts to this situation, and we are not. We are in no way equal in power and resources and protection to the Israeli side. Be that as it may, the situation was agreed upon through Norway, and in 1993, to be exact, 23rd of September 1993, the PLO, Yasser Arafat and Mahmoud Abbas, signed an agreement on the lawn of the White House in Washington known as the Oslo Accords. What the Oslo Accords gave us, contrary to what it promises to be, not peace, recognition, or self-determination. It gave us the Palestinian Authority. What is the Palestinian Authority? It's a subordinate body that was appointed by Israel and Western powers, especially America, not to forge peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis, but to control the Palestinian people for the benefit of the Israeli occupiers. Since then, instead of having 100,000 illegal settlers in Palestine, we now have 750,000. And instead of having 130 illegal settlements and outposts, we have 500 plus. Most of them are the size of towns and cities, which means creating facts on the ground and making it impossible to achieve the two-state solution. Another fait accompli. That's it. There is nothing called the two-state solution because the Israeli occupying power made it impossible for any government, the PA or any other independent Palestinian body, to create a meaningful, viable state in the West Bank and Gaza. The area, if you look at it from the air, it looks like a Swiss cheese. It has holes in it all over the place. There are enormous and long highways and roads for Jews only use that cross the country and dissect the country into cantons. And that is what the Israeli government wants. Cantons. No independence, no state. They use the two-state solution and the peace negotiations, both the Israelis and the Americans, as a cover for the continued occupation and theft of Palestinian land. What is the solution? There is a solution. If you are a fair-minded individual who believes in justice, human rights, and the rule of law, the one obvious solution is the one-state solution. I shall talk about this in a different episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being there. God bless you.